going to show you guys how to debone one real quick if you don't know how. So David's going to do this. So you're just going down the inside of the leg.
Mm-hmm. Just like you would if you're going to skin the whole thing out. The most important thing probably is, CWD is a terrible, terrible thing, and this is about the only thing we can do to stop the spread is to leave the carcass at the site. So you're not taking a positive deer carcass with the spinal column intact, 10 counties away, and spreading CWD overnight, something that would take, decades to travel that far. So
right. So now you're starting to just take it off the bone.
I just go right down the bone. Make sure I got it all the way. And if you're really particular about what you're doing with your cuts, you can try to keep from cutting through major muscle groups. If you're going to grind most of it, then it really doesn't matter if you cut through. I will probably take and smoke a lot of this one, so I'm going to be a little bit more conscious of where I'm cutting so I don't have my big muscles cut in half before I put them in the smoker.
Right. But you're just basically going on each side of the leg bone.
Yeah, just ring around the leg bone.
Use it as your guide, kind of.
Usually on the hindquarters, I usually will lay the bag underneath it. That way, if
you're using the cloth bag.
If I lose my grip, it falls in the bag instead of on the ground. So.
Right.
There's that little spine thing you got to go around right there. And it's not like if you do a less than desirable job, it's not like you're wasting meat.
Right.
Come back in there. I mean, that's the whole hindquarter.
Right, right, yeah, look at that.
If you always cut through the hair, cut from the underneath side, you don't cut hair. So you keep everything nice and straight and cut from the underneath side. You're not cutting across the direction of the hair.
Right. So now you're just going to go along the back so we can get the tenderloin. And for some of you that maybe don't know, that are new to this, that tenderloin right there he's getting out is pretty much the premier cut. Everybody wants that. You can make your little butterfly steaks, or you cook the whole tenderloin sometimes.
Yeah, you can. I like to chicken fry mine. That's
right.
Chicken fry them in
the flour and bacon.
I do flour, egg wash, and then a little bit of breadcrumbs is the way I like them. Some people, if you really want to soak up the grease, you can do crushed up saltines as breading, like a pork tenderloin. I had it cut.
Well, the good thing, man, you know where your food's coming from.
And this piece here you can leave. You don't need that. That's
right.
Throw that on your phone.
Look at everybody, he did. He threw that sucker right on my phone. Thanks, Dave.
And to get the shoulder out, it's probably the easiest of them all.
Yeah.
I just take one slice right down where the spine on that scapula is.
Yeah.
Like I say, you're going to get a hair here and there, but that's
well,
I know most people
anyway. Right.
that would get it dirtier than that at home. So, or more hair, I should say, not dirty, but
right.
Basically, you're going to find that spine where it lays right through there.
Right.
You can see that. That's where your bone kind of tees up there.
That's the part that you don't want to hit with your broadhead. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The, what's it called? The scapula?
Yeah, I don't know. It's something process on the scapula. I can't remember the name of the process, but yeah, it's basically a.
But it's where the bone tees out.
Yeah,
and
vertical.
It's thicker. Yeah.
Just like you're filleting a fish now. I just fillet it right off of that.
Yeah, off of that tee where that bone is teed.
In some states, you have to bring home the shank. Different states have different laws. In Missouri, we don't have to keep the shank. And what I mean by the shank is this portion here.
Oh, the lower leg.
This is pretty much all silver skin and tendons. There's not hardly any meat in that.
No.
There's not hardly any meat in that one.
Right.
Check your state laws. Some state laws, you do have to take that. That's considered edible portions, and they will fine you if you don't take that out.
There's that bone where the shoulder bone comes out this way. That can be really hard on you trying to shoot an arrow through there if you hit right where that T
But here's
is.
a good anatomy for you. You think the shoulder's right here. Well, it's not. It's way, I mean, she's kind of laying, but there's where she would be standing.
Right.
You know, that bone takes a angle shape away from where you really, you know, where I shot her here, I could have been
Right.
I could have been 10 inches farther forward
And not hit that
not hit the
scapula.
shoulder, depending on where the leg is positioned, where they're
Right,
standing.
if they're taking a step or not. Yeah, you can see that whole shape now. It's wider up here and narrows down, but then this piece in the middle is coming up.
And it's pretty solid right there. This is like, I mean, here you can go right through that. I missed it, but that's pretty thin. Right there is a pretty round, solid bone. That's generally, if you have any issues, you hit dead center
Right.
at the base of that. Now it makes sense to grab it by the legs and flip it over. Well, then we just drag all that's exposed in the dirt.
Right.
So what I'm going to
So
do
you
is
gotta
actually roll it on its.
Right. Here. Flip it the other way.
Now everything still nice and clean.
Now we're just going to do what we already did on this side.
And I'm probably going to do it different, because I started on the inside on the other side, now I'm starting on the outside. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
Just get
the hair off.
get exposed, you know, get the skin off.
Right.
And this is a tip I learned from somebody else. You know, most everything you learn from other people. Instead of going right in here like that, if you'll kind of pry with the side,
Oh, yeah.
you leave way less fat on the skin cutting that way. Instead of going
so you're not
in.
letting the cutting edge touch
Right,
the
I'm
meat.
kind of prying and sliding.
Right. It's like almost like you've got the back of the blade is in contact with this.
Yeah.
Right. So basically behind this hip ball and what you call the ball and socket, you got to go about 3 inches back. It's the back of the
Little spine thing that sticks up there, you got to kind of go around.
sort of like the pelvis probably.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much white and silver skin in these front legs. I mean, you usually grind yours, don't you?
Yeah, I don't do much with the fronts other than grind them. There's basically 3 pieces out of the back strap, I'm sorry, the rear hindquarter that I will often smoke. And then obviously the back straps I usually cut into steaks, but then I grind. We grind in my house just the same as beef, so we love deer. We go through, you know, this is our 5th one this year for the family, so we can look at the time lapse and see how long it took. I was trying to do it pretty cautiously, so I mean I didn't do it the fastest I've ever done, but I didn't take that long in my opinion. So we're basically done. You can make a small incision here and get your inner loins.
Oh, right.
On a doe, they're so flat and thin. Oftentimes I don't get them. On a buck I probably would, but you know that's the way I've started doing it, and that's the way. You know, a lot of states are encouraging to leave the carcass at the kill site. That way you're not spreading CWD. So
Right.
that's basically how it gets long distances. Is I shoot this deer and I live halfway across the state and I take it or out of state to a different state. So.
Right. All right. Well, you done good.
Thank you.
Maybe that'll help somebody that doesn't really know how to hasn't done this before.
It's.
All right. Well, thanks, Dave.
Yep.
And by the way, let's throw out a shout out to Habitat Taxidermy. What's it say on your hat? But yeah, cool. All right. Well, that's it for now.